Good evening, a warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Let me know in the chat where you're watching from. Let me know if you are a bridal specialist. Okay, how many of you relate to this? It is that lovely look where bohemian bride, soft and romantic. And how many of you are very, very familiar with that look, right? Of course, it's gorgeous. A bridal look is such a special moment in a woman's life, right? It's where she's got all of her emotions spinning around, and sometimes working with a bride can be quite stressful. But I promise you, when you do the consultation correctly, which is an in-depth review of all the aspects that go into becoming a bride on that very special day, then it's really quite amazing how you can eradicate the stress and all of those other things that come with it, because I've worked on really high level bridal events, lower budget bridal events, TV shows for brides. I've done so many different levels, and I've had incredible experiences and really scary experiences. And all I know in that particular world is preparation is king. And so I'll tell you a few stories as we go through the hairstyles tonight. I have 4 hairstyles to show you tonight, and we're going to go on a journey as we go through here. So obviously we all relate to this lovely bohemian bride, and she won't be around forever, will she? She's been sort of in fashion, I would say, for the last 20 years. The bohemian bridal look with all of its different braids has certainly been happening. But as in all things, fashion moves in a cycle. And so what would be the next thing that we'd be looking at? So to me, the ultimate thing about the beauty of a bride is that it works from clearly head to toe, meaning that the whole sensibility, the whole look is so harmonious that she just really is the most beautiful looking bride. So how many of you, though, want to build your bridal business? You'd like to do something a little bit different out of the salon environment. So tonight's really to get you excited and inspired as to what you can do. So the first thing is, do you ever feel lost when trying to duplicate a dresswork style from a photograph? So let me know in the chat, how many of you, be really honest, have had a challenge recreating a look? I have. I see things like on Pinterest, and I see these cute little tricks like boom, 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 done. It's like, what just happened? And you watch it 20 times to really understand what it's all about. And then you realize, oh my gosh, it's not that easy. Usually because most of the really good things have been edited out. And often in a photograph, you'll see just the back. And you think, well, how's the front? How's the profile? Well, it's got to work from every single angle. So think about this realistically. A photograph is a reference of inspiration. It tells you whether your client is like bohemian, whether she likes rock and roll, whether she's glamorous. It sort of sets the stage for the fashion, the personality, etc., etc. But you've got to take into consideration face shape. You've got to take into consideration the hair texture that she has. Is it outdoor wedding, indoor wedding? There are so many considerations. So duplicating a photograph, referencing something that does not live in your chair is really a challenge. And how many of you have tried to copy a photograph and it's ended up being a big disappointment? So Misty said, yes, head shape and hair texture is an issue. And Shawana is saying, I don't want to, it's moving. I don't want to feel the panic. Yes, I felt panicked always on updos. Okay, I get it. Sorry, it was a little hard to read. It was moving. Do you ever overstyle a hairstyle, feeling like you're working harder and not smarter? I always say everything's about a foundation is preparation. So the prep of the products, the prep of the set, are all of the different considerations you have to consider to take that style somewhere. Most hairstyles do need prep. So for example, when I'm working on a photo shoot or working with a bride, I usually have an assistant with me and they do the prep work so I can then do the creative stuff, which saves so much time. Sometimes there's more that goes into the prep than the actual styling. So you have to really know your products, understand the fundamentals of dress work. And we're going to go through a few I should have had that glass of wine, shouldn't I? I didn't, but I should have. We're going to go through a few things tonight regarding that. So now let's look at this. Do you worry that your style will fall apart before your client has left the salon and even made it up the aisle? Yeah. So pinning and security is important. Now then, how many of you have pinned a hairstyle, and as you've pinned it, it's got tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and it actually totally changes just because you pinned it, right? How do you recreate a 10-second video? How do you do that? You see this hairstyle, it's in 10 seconds, you see the back and you think, yeah, that's great. And then you try and do it yourself and you think, oh my goodness, no. Am I speaking to people who relate to this right now? I'm getting a lot of yeses in the chat. Okay. So if yes, then obviously you're in the right place tonight. And thank you so much for being with me. So let's look at the challenges that we have. Very, very often we're looking at a wonderful back. And obviously 3/4 of the hair is behind the ears, right? But if we don't see the profile and if we don't see the front, how do we know if this hairstyle is going to be absolutely gorgeous? Tonight, my goal is to show you hairstyles that pass, I call it the 365-degree test. They've got to look good from every single angle. And how many of us can relate to this little hairstyle? We actually did this hairstyle in our designer program this week. She's a concave layer. So she's got lovely, lovely layers through here that have just been softly blow dried into place. She has a facial frame and she has a little bit of a curtain fringe with a few soft wispy pieces. So, okay, so say for example, the bride that's coming in, she wants something on the romantic side. She wants something soft. She identifies with this area through here, but she has a dress that really looks so much better when all the hair is taken away. So if you think about the importance of a neckline, if you think about the importance of jewelry, when the hair is around here like this, it can often take away from a beautiful line in a dress. So when you do this, you go, wow, oh my goodness, if you can imagine jewelry and a necklace, it all of a sudden has a more dramatic feeling. Now, say your bride is happy with this sort of look through here, and she wants it to be casual and she wants it to be soft. What are you going to do with the rest of this hairstyle? Put it in a ponytail, darling, and then you'll be good to go, right? So I am going to take this hair and do a little tiny twist. So first of all, I'm just going to run my fingers through the hair. And I'm not going to use a brush because a brush is going to make it look very, very solid. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to elevate the hair. Now, as I'm doing this, I keep looking into my profile. So the monitor that I have to look at you guys is my mirror for tonight. So as I'm coming through here again, I'm looking and I take my time here. So as I turn her around, I've just got to look at how much softness do I want? Do I want symmetrical or do I want asymmetrical? And generally, I like these soft pieces to naturally fall out. So this moment here of looking into the mirror, not looking here, but looking into the mirror is really important. So I'm going to elevate her up, get her into the perfect position here, just gather all of this hair. And I'm going to do a twist. And I'm going to twist and I'm going to pin. So there's step one. So I'm going to twist up and I'm going to wrap it. Turn so you can see. And wrap and wrap. So there's my wrap. Now I'm going to open this hair here and tuck it inside. So now I have this lovely little twist here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my largest chignon pin and I'm going to pin through here and I'm going to circle and circle and circle and slide through. So now before I do anything else, I'm going to look in my mirror and I'm going to again look in the mirror and I'm now going to lift this up here and again look in the mirror. And now I'm going to take my pin here and I'm going to go up towards the ceiling and down towards the scalp. I'm going to turn her this way, and I'm going to, again, work into the mirror. I'm going to lift and lift. And now I'm going to take another long, and it's a Japanese pin, and I'm going to go and twist and twist and pin. Now I'm going to gently, again, working into my mirror, I'm going to pull and stop. I'm going to pull and stop, and pull and stop. Now I've got to slowly turn her around and make sure that the balance is still good. Now, what's important about this hairstyle is the drape, because you want it to flow from the softness here. If this tucked behind the ear, you see how unattractive that would be? I would be looking there and not at the hairstyle. So that softness is really important. So now I'm going to come through here and do the similar thing where I'm going to take my pin, I'm going to come up and up and up, circle, 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 pin. You see, I'm using a large chignon pin to obviously secure it and create indentations. So you'll notice I haven't used any hairspray as of yet. So again, I go back to my mirror. I like a triangle. I like to work with triangles. They're the most flattering of shapes. And now I can use just a little bit of hairspray. Just be very, very light. See if I can get it all over my computer. So what that was a twist and a tuck. Are there any questions that you have about that? If you want to just go into the chat, and if there's any questions you have or any comments, please fire away. And clearly, it's very important to know when to stop. So I've got a bit of a droopy bottom there, and no girl likes a droopy bottom. So it either has to go in or it has to come up. I think it needs to go in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through here. No girl likes a droopy bottom. It's kind of funny, really, isn't it? Things can droop in life, but not your bum. Right, so again, I'm just going to work through there. I'm going to lift that up, and we've got really a very pretty shape. So there's one of the things I know is quite difficult is to have undone, but still have your shape. And we were working today in our designer program, we were working actually on blow drying, how to undo a hairstyle and have it be undone, but still have a shape. And it's interesting because there are two types of hairdressers. I'm going to just put them into two boxes. One that is like perfection, polished and shiny. And then there's a hairdresser that's relaxed and undone. And there's a little bit of the in-between. So the relaxed and undone group have a real hard time doing polished and buttoned up. And the buttoned up and polished have a hard time doing undone. And the goal is to be able to do both. So I'm just going to do one more pin there, and then we're done and dusted. As I would say, I'm doing a circle and a pin. So obviously, when people come to me and train, we go over the fundamentals, the pinning, the back combing, we go over shape and balance and proportion. We do all of that good stuff. So I said to you, she's got to work from every single angle. So now let's just get this curtain fringe working nicely. And one of the big scary things about this world that we're playing in is, you know, if she's outdoors, will this endure? And clearly, if that's the case, you've got to work with what you've got, right? So I did a bride for, it was actually downtown Julie Brown. Some of you may remember her from the MTV days. And she had kinky curly hair. And she was getting married actually out on the Paul Mitchell estate, which is in Hawaii, on the water. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Her whole hair is going to frizz up because of the environment. So what I did was I worked with a synthetic hairpiece, and I created a hairstyle that was literally windproof, waterproof, humidity proof, you name it. It was all of that. And she was probably the only person out of the entire wedding group whose hair looked as amazing at the beginning of the day as it did at the end of the day. So again, that was working with the environment to make sure that it was good. So as I turn around, I'm just looking at the balance and the proportion. I'm looking at it flowing through. So I'm looking at all of these things and I'm saying to myself, okay, is there anything else I should do? Not really. I think she works really quite well. So there's our first look tonight. Do you like that? There she is. So we've got the softness of the front. It's romantic. It's relaxed. So this is all back combing. So I did a roller set and it had a teased root. Again, left out a nice soft front. Here in the back, this is a classic French twist. So what I did with this hairstyle, as I did my French twist, I backcombed everything. I pinned up the back seam. I then did a twist through here and I put the ends of the hair and stuffed it down inside. And then I gently started to prise it open and pull it apart so that sometimes the seam side is not the prettiest side. So obviously if you've got jewelry to put in, which obviously with wedding outfits, you often do have jewelry. If you put the jewelry in there, then that would hide that seam. But if not, it's really nice to pull out this side as well so that this side becomes as pretty as this side. And again, what I'm looking at here is, does the hairstyle balance and flow from every single angle? And in this case, sometimes just a simple headband can be gorgeous. Obviously, when you're working with a bride, you want to see the dress, you want to know if they have a veil, you want to know all of these different things. I have an incredible consultation that I use for my brides so that I leave no aspect of that day not discussed, so that there are no surprises and no calamities and dramas, because I know what it's like to have a drama and totally freak out. So I think that's really very, very important. So anyway, that's a bouffant. So where would I put her? She's glamorous. She is sophisticated. She is elegant. It would be a beautiful, taller sort of shape. So for example, when a woman is wearing, say, a very full dress, you need to balance with the head proportionately, because if the head is really small and the dress is really big, her head can look disproportionate. So it's not always about the hair hanging down and long, because often when the hair is coming down like that, you need that simplicity on the top of the dress. But when you take the hair up and you've got a big skirt, as I will show you in a little bit, then it becomes a different story. Right. So this particular look, she is a little bit more trendy. She's kind of like my Barbie doll. But look at the simplicity of the dress. It's very simple, but it has a large train. So the bouffant, the back combing, the asymmetric ponytail works really, really well. If you took everything away, she could look a little naked in the shoulder and in the chest area. She's got gorgeous red hair, so show it off, don't hide it. And also just having it hang down like this just adds a little bit of an element to it, and it makes it very, very modern. So this is for somebody who's stylish, who loves a ponytail, and there are plenty of women out there that love a bouffant. Okay, so this little girl here, she'll be a bit of a surprise for you, I think, when you see this. Bohemian. And this is the bride that suits it clean off of her face. So when I look at somebody from a face shape perspective, I always measure the face and I do my law of 3. That's my balancing: forehead to brow, brow to nose, nose to chin. And then my 4th would be obviously the neck. So when I've got somebody that is beautifully balanced, and I'm looking at, right, she looks more stunning with her hair away from her face, and I'm looking at that aspect, then I'm going to do something really clean, because sometimes clean can be absolutely beautiful. But before I get into this hairstyle, I wanted to talk to you about the romantic bride, that romantic classic bride. So this lady here, she has gorgeous long red hair, and I wanted to do something to show how you can take long hair and put it up and create this lovely effect. So she's my romantic person. So you'll notice the dress is quite simple, and she can afford to have a little bit more of an embellishment on the top of the head. So when you have something like that versus here, remember how I said about scale? When the dress becomes big, and this is my fairy tale bride, very romantic, fairy tale. She's glamorous. The jewelry that's on her is just gorgeous. So the jewelry really became an accent piece. And so the bigger hair proportions with the dress. And this is where knowing the history of hair is really important too, because there are certain things where you can see I've got more of like a little vintage, classic 1940s vibe with one. And the other one is like boho meets a little bit of a bouffant, a little disheveled. So again, you know, doing something that's a little bit more dramatic, which I think is really very, very cool. So I've shown you some sensibilities. For me, it's not just curly hair, straight hair. It's about the story of the bride that's important. So I mentioned that this would be the bride where she can really take her hair off of her face. The technique that I used here was going in with my iron, and I basically came in and I took the hair and I did palm up, palm down, palm up, palm down, and I wrapped the hair around. I did quite a lot of product testing with this to see which product would perform the best. In the back here, you can see I have done a basket weave all the way through here, just to make it a little bit different. So now when we brush this through, let's see what will happen here. And just coming through to see what kind of movement I have. Obviously, I put quite a lot of product into this hair. So now we can see, you know, what do we have in terms of our texture. You can see we've got a beautiful texture through there. So again, it's trying to, when there is a trend and everyone wants to get on the trend wagon, it doesn't mean everyone can wear that trend. When someone can wear it really well, that's wonderful, but not everybody can. And so I think it's very, very important that you take the essence. So say, for example, you've got a bohemian bride and you identify, yes, she loves that boho look. Then the next most important thing is, okay, how can we make it special to her? Because no one wants to be common. And common being that, well, you see it everywhere. When it becomes common and overseen, it's not as special anymore. Now, you clearly are going to attract the type of bride that fits your style, because that's how it works in our business. If you're classic and you put out a lot of classic work, you're going to get classic clients coming to you. If you're edgy and bohemian, or, you know, whatever your style is, when you do that, you'll attract a like-mindedness. So I always say, be very intentional about what you post, that you want that to be coming into you. So you can see here that we've got, you know, a lovely wave, a lovely texture. It's going through it, first of all, with my comb, and now going to go through it with my brush. And look at how much movement I have within this hairstyle. Now, obviously, once the brush goes in, we change the whole story of this look. So you can see the moment I put a brush in, I've loosened it up quite a lot. So you have to, again, do your product test, your strand test before you begin. So when I set this hair, I used about 3 different products in my test to see which one would be the most beneficial. And again, that's when you go into longevity. How is this hairstyle going to last as you're looking through there? So one of the things that's tricky about a hairstyle like this is securing this part. This was gelled and I wove in and out, and I just wove all my braids through, but I actually put bobby pins in the underneath there to lock that into place. So when we've got something like this, now, obviously, if you come in and you take this hair and you just gently back brush on the underneath, you're obviously going to get more of that type of wave because you've back brushed it and put it into place. So that is obviously very, very beautiful. But generally, with something like that, you want it to be not broken over the shoulder. So it's almost like it lives back behind here so that everything flows through. But if you really are doing a bohemian look, which is what this is, I think it being separated is actually more interesting because that kind of gives it a more, well, it's in keeping with what I've done on the top. So this is crying out for some oil. That's what I feel. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil into the hair just to break it up. I always say it's so important to step away from your work. use your mirror, step away from your work so you can really see what's going on. And so when I step away, I get to see the big picture. And so I can go, right, what else do I need to do? And there are times when you just need to be still and quiet and just look at the work. So in a moment, I'm going to look at the comments because I'm sure you're asking me questions as we're going through here. A little bit more oil. And just turn her around so you can see. All right. So we have a combination of the gelled area through here, gelled, and our basket weave into our palm up, palm down set. And we have this nice effect through here. And I hope you like it. So I think she's good just like that, really. She just needs her dress. Do you like it, guys? Oh, what product line do I use? I use a bit of everything, actually. This was Davines. A moment ago, I had Orbay. I've got ours over there. I've got Joico over there. Got quite a lot. So I have favorite products within the different lines. So I use whatever works. And I think the oil really made a difference. Does it show on camera, the oil? Yeah? Oh, Missy's saying she loves using oil now, yes. This is going to be a little bit of a 1940s inspired, but it won't look too 40s by the time I'm done. The hair has been set vertically. I set the hair vertically. And what I'm going to do is just do a finish off the set here in the front. And we'll go from there. And I'm going to come through here and I'm going to tease this area here. So I'm just going to come through here and tease and stop. Put a bit of hairspray on the underneath, very lightly. And then in this section, I'm just going to come in and give that a little cook. And then release. And now I'm going to come back in now and just give it a little wrap around. I don't really need a curl in here, but just a bit of a bend will be helpful. Let's see if my iron is still performing. Yeah. And so that takes care of that piece. And now the question is, do I want lift here? So when I'm voguing around the face, is that I make my shape. So when I'm making my shape, you can see even with this here, I'm looking to see, should it be snug in here? Should it be tighter? A little teasing would actually work quite well. So let's just get that out of the way. Just a little tiny bit of teasing. So this is actually going to be rope braided. So just a tease there, very, very light. And then I'm just going to go back in with the heat. And it just gives it much more staying power. A little bit of spray. So I've had, as I mentioned in the beginning of this presentation, some extraordinary experiences working with brides and some huge, huge challenges. I've been paid a lot of money and I've done brides for free because of, let's take this away for a moment. So I know the whole gamut of being tested in terms of all the things that can happen and all the challenges that can go on. And I think that more than anything, it's knowing your craft. And when you're in a situation of working with a bride and you have some challenges, they need somebody that they feel that they can lean into with some sense of security. And that's very, very, very important. Actually, that looks quite nice like that, but that's not what I planned. You know, sometimes you do something, you think, well, I think that's even nicer than what I had planned. Huh. I'm going to look at that for a moment. I didn't plan for this. I didn't plan for my computer to freeze on me either or lose power. It's amazing how life can be, right? Okay, so this would work. Okay, so you see what that is, right? I'm going to go back to what I was planning on doing. I know I can make that work, but I want to show you something a little bit more interesting. So let's see if this will work. You know what you need in this world is a good sense of humor. Right, here we go. I have it sectioned. Let me section this off. I have this section behind the ear. I'm going to move this around here. You know, I was looking at some of the most amazing videos, you know, that you see on the shorts, and some brilliant people out there with such clever tricks that they do. And, you know, when you see it edited down to 10 seconds or 1 minute, obviously no hairstyles created in that period of time. And it can be very misleading because the reality is it takes time to do the hairstyles that we do, right? And then when we have a go at doing it and it doesn't quite work, we can be very disappointed with ourselves. So I've got 3 fingers here. Well, I've actually got 5, but 3 of them are working. I'm going to just twist this into 3 sections. And I'm going to be very careful in how I take this over. So I've backcombed the hair, and now I'm going to do a rope braid. And I already lost my section, so I'm going to do it again. Clearly, I wouldn't be one of those people doing a video in 10 seconds, right? I'm going to come through here, do it one more time. No big deal. Doesn't always work first time. Just shows you I'm human. I too can make mistakes. All right, here we go. I'm going to come through here now. Here we go. You know what's interesting? I wonder how many of you have had this experience where you rehearse the bridal look and it goes brilliantly. And then on the day, when you go to recreate it, it never works exactly the same. So what I do know is really important is the amount of photographs you take in a rehearsal. How you market this part of the business is really important because there should be much more time, thought and planning and rehearsing going into it. So as I mentioned before, there are no surprises on the day. And even having said that, things can change, right? But it is important to have a plan and work the plan so that as you're going through on your journey, you can be fully prepared. So this is a 3-strand rope braid. And I decided to backcomb it so that it didn't lay flat on the head. And as I'm going through here and I'm taking this hair up and over into here, I've got to be aware of the position. So again, I've got to stop and work into my mirror and just gently start to pull it apart. Now, when you pull apart a hairstyle, very often you've got to start smaller so that when you pull it apart, it will go bigger. Because if you start too big, by the time you pull it apart, it becomes really quite huge. So I'm going to now just continue with this rope braid all the way down through here. And it is an over into the middle, under in the middle, over middle, under middle, over and under, over and under, over and under, going all the way through. And I'm going to come right the way down to my very end, and probably I'm going to just tease this. I don't want an elastic band here. So over and under all the way through. Now I'm kind of running out of hair. So I'm just going to tease this. But before I make the commitment to it, this is going to lay and end up over on this side of the head. So let me just show you how it looks so far. We've got the rope braid here, and this is going to come over into here, but I've got to deconstruct it. So I said the inspiration was sort of a 1940s silhouette. So I want to pull this apart in places, and you'll notice instead of looking this way, I've got to look this way. I've got to look into my mirror or my screen and just pull it apart and stop, pull it apart and stop, and stop. Right, I'm going to stop there. So now the next part of this hairstyle, I'm going to take a tiny piece of hair from behind the ear, and I'm going to take this piece of hair here. I'm going to take this clip away. This was blow dried backwards, by the way. Blow dried back. And I just need to make sure I gather all of that stuff that's there. And I'm going to take it, just going to comb that through. And I'm going to take it down and take it underneath the occipital bone and put an elastic band in. So it's going to sit through here underneath the occipital bone. And again, use the mirror. A couple of things I say is try and step away from your work as much as you can. The other thing I like to say, oh, that's wrong. I just noticed something wrong. This is too big a section. So I'm going to take this away and do it again. You know, it's what's important about what just happened there, which you don't see in one of these reels, is the planning of this and the correction, because I'm not perfect, right? But stopping and using my mirror was very important just then. Right, so I'm going to do it again. Take a piece there, put it back in the band. That looks as though it's better. And I'm just going to put my elastic band in there. Again, look into the mirror. You know, it's refreshing for the eye. When you keep staring at one place, your eye can become stale. So now I've got that there. So look at what's happening. I've got this here. So now the next part, I'm going to take a section here and tease this just lightly, just a meshing effect, very light and rocking through. And there's an art to backcombing. There really is. So here, as I come through, I'm going to tuck this inside here. And now I'm going to pin this into place. I want to pull it apart a little tiny bit. I'm going to take a bobby pin and slide through and just lock it at the base. So bobby pins are used as anchors at the base. Those long hairpins that I was using for the first hairstyle are to make the hairstyle much more airy. So I stop and I look. Now I'm going to come through and do the same with this side here. So I'm going to take an equal amount of hair and I'm going to mesh very lightly. So in my training in dressing hair, number one, consultation. So whether it be a bride, whether it be red carpet, whether it be just a nice upstyle that's a day look for your client, it's about the fundamentals, really. You've got to learn the rules before you break the rules. You've got to learn setting, pinning, backcombing, how to see a shape, how to balance a shape. There's so many different layers to making a hairstyle work and overcoming the fear. Because when you have technique and you can start chipping away at your technique, then, you know, it's amazing. So we have an editorial program, and it's a massive library of dresswork and all sorts of different fun things. And in that library, I think there's pretty much every technique you can think of in there, including working with hair pieces. So we meet once a month virtually, and we create some of the looks. And it's wonderful because I get to watch the stylists working, and it's so cool to sort of see hairdressers in the moving and the grooving of a hairstyle. And I can problem solve, because when I see them doing certain things, like this morning, it was really cool. We were doing a whole blow drying class, and I was making them stop every 5 minutes to step back and look at the shape and look at the balance and look at the proportion. So what am I doing here? I'm just stopping and I'm looking, and I'm just making sure that I'm on track, versus being buried in here and never moving. If I only put my energy here, what about the rest of the shape? So I'm a strong believer in moving around one's work, in stepping back, using the mirror, stopping, because this is a technique you're learning, and you can see tons of techniques on social media, tons of techniques. But what about the balance? What about the proportion? What about the harmony of the hairstyle? What about the fashion genre? I mean, some things, you know, would that client even wear it? So you want to be, you know, there's one thing to learn wonderful technical skills, and then there's another thing, learning tricks. And, you know, the tricks are fun, but at the end of the day, actually, it'd be quite pretty leaving some of that down. That should be really pretty, but that's not what I planned. This is actually going to come across here in a moment, and it's going to be pulled apart. But I'm just going to take a moment to look. So you see that pause made me think of something else. So here we have it nice and tight. Just give it that squirt with spray and get that tight in there. Now here, let me look at this. So that looks nice from profile. What do you think, guys? Should it go up or go down? The mirror seems to be the third eye. You're so right. So obviously, if I put this up, the whole thing goes up through there this way. I actually feel that it could be quite nice having pieces of this coming down. What do you think? Down. We get one down. Keon, down. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that part down, and this part is going to go up. Now, you see, with meshing this, it's given me a lot more substance. So now as I take this over, got to be very careful here. And, you know, there's the topsy-turvy little tool that you can use, but sometimes there's nothing more powerful than just your own hands. So that's coming through there. So I'm going to now just put a bobby pin here, just to secure that. So now going back into my mirror, I can now start to pull this apart. And this can come up a little bit more. And there is kind of soft through there. And now this part is going to come over here. And this has to be also pulled apart. So I think if I pin it first, and then I can pull it apart. It's just like I've got to tuck this inside. It's like stuffing the turkey. What are you going to do with the ends? You've got to stuff them away somewhere, right? So I'm just going to pin this in here. So as I mentioned earlier, bobby pins go at the scalp. The long hair pins go somewhere else. So now I'm going to pull this apart. And just dishevel it a little bit. And I can hear my inner voice saying, stop, Vivienne, and look in the mirror. So I'm just going to come through there. That's got to come over. So this has got to come over through here. This has got to live there. So this is where all the balancing becomes really important, and the art of pinning. So I've got to make sure, as I said before, this has to pass the 360 test. So I'm going to pull it apart through here. This has got to lift up. This has got to pull out. This is going to be pulled out, pulled apart. You've got to be very brave in pulling this apart. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to integrate them. So a couple of things have to happen. She's too low for me. Got to raise her up. Oh, thank you, Trish. Thank you for your kind words. So I'm going to come through here and go up and integrate with a twist and pin that down in. I'm going to come up in here and do a twist and integrate that in. So what I would do, I would photograph this down the way that it is right now, and then I would show, what's that? I see something there. I see a hole. There you go, the hole's gone. If it gets too high, you just sit on it. Oh, it's a bit see-through. Ooh. The sun would shine right the way through there. This would have to be a moonlight hairstyle. That went pretty high. Okay, hold on, I've got to fix that. I don't like that. That's got to be sorted out. Now, this is brave, what I'm doing right now. This will either be genius or a disaster. But I can't have a hole. That would be a real disaster, wouldn't it? She has her bridal picture, and through the hair you can see the wedding party behind her. Her hair is so holy. Oh gosh. You know, if I was doing this hairstyle by myself, I'd be silent. Because it takes a lot of thought. Okay, now there's no holes. No, there's no holes. All right, so that's good there. So I figured, right, so she's quite chic, really. So I figured, right, a black rose right there. I thought would be, oh, that looks ridiculous. When I rehearsed this, it didn't look so stupid. Okay, so what I thought was, she's an unusual bride. She's getting married in black. And I do have this too. No, it takes away from the hairstyle. But I just did this simple rose before, and it was really quite sweet. I just thought one little, because flowers are really in right now, little flowered hairstyles, but you've got to make sure that the balance is right. It doesn't look like there's this thing growing out of her ear. You know, there's a real art to working with hair accessories. They're not easy to work with. And often when you clip them in, and then you think, oh, I don't like where that lives, they're really hard to get back out. That looks actually ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. You know, when I rehearsed this, it looked really good. Okay, so now I made a hole successfully, right? So now I've got to cover it. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to step away and stop, put my hands away from the head for a moment. And I said a moment, and just see what I can do to make that look more special, if there is anything. And this is kind of an interesting technique, putting the comb in and teasing and pulling it apart. So that you have just really a very, very pretty effect. So that's it down. I did what you said. You said you'd like it down. So that's it down. So we have that. And what's also important is how much hair is showing behind the ear. That's also really important. So she's drooping at the ear. We've got to lift that up. We don't want to drag there. So what I would do is I would then take a photograph of this here, right? Do you like it down? Let me know if you like it down or if you want to see it up, just to finish tonight. Oh, Elaine's saying up. Okay, I'm going to step aside so that you can take a screen capture of that if you'd like to take a photograph, right? And how many else is saying up? Show us up, please, Keon's saying. There is a nice angle there, which is really pretty. Then that's a pretty profile. Remember I said it's got to pass the 360-degree test. And if we did a swoosh, that's a nice elongation, asymmetric balance, I think, don't you? Okay, so now the whole thing's going to go up. I did not plan on this, so let's see where we're going to take this. You guys are pushing me now. So let's see. We're going to tease this, and this will be very, very interesting. So this is going to go up and through. So maybe I need to do a twist, and maybe this is where my little widget, my topsy-turvy will come in, and maybe this is where this is going to help me. Because it will get more solid now because more hair is going up. So I'm just going to take this and bring it through. And look, if nothing else tonight, I'm demonstrating the importance of stopping and the importance of stepping back away from your work and looking at your shape from the distance. My work tends to look its best a mile away. Trust me. All right, so now let's get rid of this. A little bit of teasing. So when hair's being naughty and unruly, product can obviously help. Set can obviously help. What else can help? Pinning, praying, praying to the hair gods that it's going to work. So my friends, we are going to be hosting a bridal workshop really soon, and I'm super excited about it. And we have a gift to give away tonight. So I want to talk to you about that. And please do share with your friends what we're doing. Share the love. And I will give you some details about what we're going to be doing in a moment. So notice here, as I put this in, I'm pulling it apart left and right, left and right, left and right. So I'm going in opposite directions. With this, if you don't know what to do with it, just cut it off. Just kidding. Not really. How many times have you done a hairstyle like this and thought, well, what am I meant to do with that bit? Or you go and pull it apart and you pull apart something that really should not have been pulled apart. So anyway, that's it taking away. So let's just give it a light hairspray. So I have worked with hair accessories that have made a hairstyle. And I've worked with hair accessories like on a job where it was a job for hair accessories and it was a nightmare. I worked on a job with the British Times newspaper. And this gentleman came in, a security guard. I didn't know why, because I'm just doing hair. And he makes me feel very nervous. And I was a little nervous. And he came up to me and he said, "Are you nervous doing this hairstyle?" And the diamond pin that I was putting in the hair was so heavy. And I was struggling to get it in. And then I thought, oh, he thinks I'm nervous. Oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't be here right now. Maybe blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it turns out He was the security guard that afternoon was going to be taking this piece of jewelry to a princess in Saudi Arabia, and it was worth millions. Let's do as in plural. And I'm holding this thing, and it's this whole story about this incredible piece of jewelry, and I'm putting it in the hair, and the thing is so damn heavy. It was like, couldn't you give me a piece of glass? And I freaked out. So that was my first job, and it was in the Times newspaper, which was kind of fun. But actually, it wasn't fun. It's fun to think about it now, but at the time it was very stressful. All right, so now she's gone up, right? So again, you've got to know when to stop and look at the balance, look at the proportion. This is kicking out a little bit too much, needs to come in. So again, I would be coming in and I'd be pinning, looking in my mirror. I mentioned the designer program because we've been doing some really fun things. Yesterday, when we were doing our haircut, they had to make focal points, and I wouldn't let them look at the mannequin. I had them look in the mirror and cut the length to balance with the face. Because if you think about it, when you're here, what do you see? So do this for me for a moment. Put your hands in front of you like this and see what you see. Most hairdressers look at their work like this. I make hairdressers, because I beat them up with my hairspray and my tail comb, I make them look like this. So the difference between this is tunnel vision. This is the big picture. So there you go. You have it now the other way. Do you like that, guys? It's sort of a little nostalgic, but Lucille Ball glam look. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Very, very glam, especially with the earrings, right? So you can make this bigger, smaller, whatever, but you've got some really good techniques there. The folding of the hair over and how it goes through, just very, very pretty. The thing is, it doesn't look like a braid, which is, I think, the most important thing of all. Oh, thank you, Joni. Thank you for the feedback. So I just wanted to share with you something very exciting. We're going to be doing a 2-day long hairstyling boot camp. And it will be all about brides, and it's 2 days, and it's virtual, and the date is April the 14th and the 15th. So we're super excited about this. So gosh, we've got some really fun things to give to you tonight, but we're looking for the most amazing comments. So now's your time to write what you've learned in the chat. So Patricia, who's in the house, can pick somebody, because tonight we will tell you who the winner is. So get writing, guys. Right, so this is my Who is Sitting in the Chair program. And I know there are a lot of members in the house today who are part of this program. It's a game changer. How you do your consultation, beauty beyond the mirror, how you design to face shapes, how you would, i.e., take a bride or take your everyday client and understand who they are and what their story is through the 3 wheels of fashion. So the 3 wheels of fashion are the personality of the client, the fashion sensibility of the client, and the sensuality. Like some women like to show up very glam and polished, and some women like very relaxed and undone. We've been living in the relaxed, undone phase for 20 years, and it was exaggerated during COVID. And guess what? The next thing is glamming up. So this program also has live coaching every month. So it's a lot of fun. For the year, it's valued at $500. The other program that we have is our ponytail collection that is valued at $600. So it's about the art of backcombing. It's about the art of pinning. It's a relaxed ponytail, a bouffant ponytail, ponytails with hair extensions, intricate ponytails, you name it. There's a lot of ponytails there. And it's about how you choose your shape and how you choose your style. So this is valued at $600. So why am I sharing this with you? Because to come to our editorial bridal boot camp and enter at gold level, that means you will be on the screen. So just like you're looking at me on the screen right now, I will be looking at you. We get to hang out and play together for 2 days. It's so much fun. If you would like to tonight purchase the Gold Access program, guess what you get? you will get the ponytail collection and who is sitting in your chair included. So the total value is $1,100. So guess what you would pay? $500. That's amazing. It's like 2 color services, right? So if you are saying, Viv, I'm scared of dressing hair, let me help you. Oh, Viv, I don't know whether I can do that right now. Make an investment in yourself. It will pay off dividends in the future. You don't know what opportunities lie beyond the 4 walls of your salon if you expand your repertoire. So this is an incredible opportunity at gold level to attend our bridal workshop bootcamp. Now, we have a silver level. The silver level means that you will be part of the program, but you'll be off screen. So that means you can write in the chat room, you can interact with me, but I'm not watching you work. So if you want to do the silver level, we made it super affordable. For 2 days, it's $300. $300. That's a deal. So I hope right now you're sharing this with your friends. So take a screen capture of this. So gold level is on the screen. And for a limited time only, you will get access to the who's sitting in the chair and the ponytail collection for $500. So it's valued at $1,100. And the silver, you come to the boot camp, and that's exclusive to the boot camp. And then you will be off the screen, but you'll be following along as we go. So an incredible opportunity to be part of that. So this is a limited offer. So I encourage you, if you want this gold, there's only a few places. So if you want this gold, I highly recommend you sign up tonight, because if you leave it a few days, it may not be available anymore. And we are only going to extend this offer until we have no more places left. And so we expect it to go within the next couple of days. So if you have a friend who's not here tonight, jump on board, because it'll be a whole lot of fun. And I think it would be pretty amazing. So how many of you are interested in signing up for the gold level and getting that incredible value? Let's see in the chat. How many of you are interested in that? I'm keen to see. And then, of course, as I say, we have the silver level. So I hope you will join us, because I will obviously be breaking down the consultation for a bride. I will be breaking down pinning, backcombing, balance, proportion. And tonight I've shown you a nice variation in styles that not only are lovely for a bride, but they're nice for many, many other occasions as well. But if you are interested in taking this one stage further, I'd highly encourage you to book a call. And if you book a call with us, you go to our website, which is viviennmackinder.com. You go to the website and you can book a call, and we can hear about your career, your goals, where you want to be in a year's time or 6 months' time, what you want to invest into yourself, and we can help and strategize and show you our success path. And that's really amazing. So if you're hesitant, thinking, oh my gosh, I want to do this, but I want to do something else as well, then book that call, because by doing that, we can help you on the way. And here is the link to go to for booking a call. And I'm really excited about that. So let's just summarize our evening. I showed you the soft curtain fringe front and the very, very elegant effect in the back, which was the twist and the tuck. So I showed you that. Let's bring her over here. So we have our little collection of girls. This was one that you saw down and up. And you can see a very pretty effect here, working with a rope and a tucking process, which was very, very, very elegant. Here we have our backcombed hairstyle, and this one we will be doing in our bridal workshop. So we'll be breaking this whole hairstyle down. Again, they all have movement and softness. So that's that one. And then our final one, our Bohemian girl, with a basket weave braid in the back of her head, which really gives a lovely, lovely effect and a lovely shine from our oil. And so we have our lovely Bohemian girl. So yeah, I'm the only real one in the house. So are there any questions? Have you learned something this evening? Has it been good? Great. So thank you so much for watching. Please share this with your friends. This is a very exciting opportunity for me to share with you. Thank you so much, guys. Bye for now.